So there's two things I would like to share today. One is just the new release, a couple of seconds on that. And the second thing I want to share is a brand new look at what our thinking is for teams and collaboration. So first, let's get the quick one out of the way. I've got my phone up here. You can see my phone screen. And I'll head into Mindsettlers. And some of the new things that came out in the release 16.5, one thing is on Explore. If you come to Explore, we've really been focused, as you probably know, on expanding out how you can find ideas to make it a lot easier to get through the 500 and something activities in the app, etc. So there's a new tab. If you see at the top here, there's 4 sections. You have featured. So this is where we've taken some of the topics that a lot of Scrum Masters, Agile coaches care about the most. We just have some essentially collections here for you on different topics. You will also find that top windmill image. That's where you can just go in and see what's new, right? And my selections, this is where you can customize whatever you want to see. This is where you can choose whatever tags you like and see content there. That's still there, that hasn't changed. But collections is new. So collections, this is, as you're browsing content, you can click and save it to a collection. You can just give it a name. If you're looking for ideas, you can go through Mindsettlers, collect 5 or 6 into a collection, the idea being that then you can use them, find them easily, and then you can share them as well. That you can, that's coming quite soon, where you can share a collection with a team or a group of people. So collections and featured are the new parts that you'll see in Explore. I hope you'll go through them and see if they help you find what you need. And the other new thing, we have added back in reviews. So if you see here on any content item, any track, now you can come in and give feedback. We had this about a year ago, some time ago we had it when we had the first version of Mindsettlers. When we started value tracking, we didn't build it out, but now we have both. So we're separating that out. If you see a content item and you like it, you can, if you used it, you can leave comments. If you want to critique it, you can critique it. So we're separating out that, just reviewing the actual piece of knowledge, activity that's in the software, and then what your results were. I did this is still there. I just clicked on that button. Not sure if you saw that. So if you actually use something and you want to relay how it went for you, what kind of value you got, or if you want to capture it to your own history, value tracking marks is still there. But if you just want to say what you think of the quality of it, that's where you would go. If you want to talk to the author, ask them questions, then you've got reviews. So those are the 2 main new parts that have come out in the app. There's a bit more that's probably not so visible. We've updated it so we can have dual authors. There's a lot of people like, Scrum, liberating structures. There's so many thought leaders where it's a partnership, right? There's more than one person. So that now we have that ability to support that and show brands more accurately. We even have some Agile coaches that have used the platform and worked on things together. So collaboration is pretty important. So authors can collaborate. The other thing we've done, which isn't going to be visible to you, hopefully, if nothing should be visible to you, we've updated the backend to tap into a second database, because we're building out a authoring portal. So anyone can easily, they don't have to send us the details, they can just go into a web interface and send us their content. So we've tied into that. The app now is ready to support that new back end. Okay, so I'll share my screen again. And let me just get my controls out of the way so I can go to the tab I want to show you. So I wanted to, now I want to move to a second topic, which is the really sort of exciting one. All right, so the rest is exciting too, don't get me wrong. So one thing on our roadmap that's extremely important, and it's where everyone wants to see us go, is using this platform for teams, right? With other people, collaborating, using it with people you coach, using it with peers, you know, using it with other departments or whatever it might be. So we have been working on that, and I don't have like wireframes to show you, but what I do have is the concept to show you. So it's a lot of text, but so a really early look at what our thinking is. Okay, so I have 3 things to show you. First off, when we look at teams and collaboration, the way we're seeing it is, if you're a coach or a consultant or a scrum master, you want to provide service. You know, you want to provide support. You don't want to just provide a piece of content to people. So we're sort of calling this, we want our platform to help those kind of people extend their coaching or extend their consulting virtually, if you will. So these 3 bullet points here, we want to use our platform to support coaching consulting capabilities. And there's several scenarios that we see where you want to bridge the gap between your face-to-face work that you're doing, you know, the way you're supporting teams or clients or people you train, and then what happens afterwards, or what you can do long distance perhaps. So let me pull up the 4 scenarios. So we see 4 scenarios. One is a coach or a scrum master who is supporting internal clients. We'll call them clients, right? So you have teams, they have problems, you're helping them out. We've seen several. We've seen some coaches where they have maybe 2 or 3 teams and they're very close with those teams and they're in there all the time. But we've seen heaps where internal coaches have 20 teams or 40 teams. They're one agile coach for an insane number of people, and they can be actively involved with maybe 1 or 2 teams, or maybe they're involved for a month and then they move on. So that's where we're thinking our platform could be a fantastic way for you to get in, really support those people long distance, or see what they're up to after you leave, for example, right? You help them, you train them, you get them going on some new processes. Well, what are they actually doing? Are they moving forward? What are the results of the work you did? What kind of impact are you having? So that's scenario 1. And then there's 3 others. One is really around training. So, oops, I'm touching my screen. I forget I have a touch screen here. Supporting trainees. If you give a training to a group of people, we've seen this, Jürgen Apollo, our CEO, has this with Management 3.0, and a lot of people who do workshops have said this. Everyone, you get a 5-star rating, people love the training, but how many actually go back to the office and change what they're doing, right? I think we all have seen this. I've done it myself, gone on trainings where fantastic information, but look, I don't have 4 hours to really sit down and think about what am I going to do. You just get back into your routine and you don't apply as much as you wish you could. So we see Mindsettlers, we've got, you know, practices, we've got teams where you can set up a private group, we've got collections, shared collections. So this scenario is one where, imagine you have a training and it's a training you give rather often, maybe on Agile, maybe on Scrum Master training, something. What if you had some stuff for them to do afterwards? Here's some things, simple things for you to try when you get back to the office. You choose. Here's 5 options. Here's Mindsettlers. You can, you know, try these things out. And if they do and they use the app, you can see what they're up to. And then the other part is, of course, there needs to be the ability to have a conversation, for them to ask you for help and to get responses from you, right, as they go. As they run into difficulties, can they still just ping you and ask you for help when they need it? So that's one thing we think is critical to this. Okay, so the other two clients, there's consultants with external clients where they have an engagement, and wouldn't that be great if after, during that engagement they could really support them, even if they're not face-to-face, and afterwards could they continue to provide them some sort of support? And then lastly, the last one, number 4, virtual coaching, consulting. We have this community on the Mindsettlers platform. We want to also enable, anyone who has a problem, anyone who, needs some help. Hey, how do I solve this? I've got this issue with this team I'm working with, and what do you suggest? What kind of actions could I take? We want them to be able to put that out to the community and have community members engage. And we want rewards too. We want the coaches to get rewarded for that. We want them to get paid for their efforts. So that's a little bit of rundown of I'm calling it the scenarios, right? So the value, when we look at teams and collaboration, where do we think the high value, what's going to bring the most value, right, to the people that we want to serve? So those are the 4 scenarios we think we can serve with one set of, I guess, features or tools. So let me scoot over here, and what I want to, this is I guess I'll leave the comments up. We think we have a huge, most of this, the platform that would be needed to support coaching clients and to enable people to extend their services to their the people they're helping. We have practices in the app. We have gamified action plans in the app, and we have teams where you can see the activity. We have the beginning, we have analytics, not a problem. We have teams, we have a way for people to track, to note down what they're doing, that they've done something. So that we have, and the 2 missing parts, we think we need what we're calling questions and answers. And this is instead of just having an open discussion forum, right, where it's very difficult to capture the fantastic wisdom that comes out of that, and then have the community be able to benefit from it long term. What we want to do is set up something called questions, where someone who, maybe it's a trainee, you gave a training, you set up a group for that group of trainees, you invite them to connect with you there, you have resources for them, and then they can reach out to you if they need anything. So perhaps someone has a question, I tried this and it didn't work, I crashed and burned, what do you suggest I do? Well, that would be a question, and then you would supply an answer, and what we want is provide that answer, and you could put it into a gamified action plan, you could put it into a practice. The idea being that the answer would be in a format that you could use again, right? You give them that answer, and that could become a little piece of wisdom that you can use again if someone else has that question, even if it's 2 years from now or 9 months from now. But also that it's something that could go out to the wider community, and we'll tag it, we'll put the context around it, and other people can benefit from that knowledge, right? So I hope that makes sense. Questions and answers. And part of that too, we want to gamify it. We want to have rewards. We want people who ask questions to be able to give rewards to the people who are providing them with value. And then that could turn into income for the coaches, right? They can get paid for that. So we're looking at a few different ways to do that, but we absolutely want to, we want it to be, I like the word rewards, rather than I'm paying you, I'm going to reach out and pay for a coach to answer my question. No, maybe you have a monthly subscription, and as part of that you have coins, and you can reward who you like. psychologically, it's more in the game space and the play space to be able to reward people and not just have a transaction paying for something. Anyway, all of that's not really fine yet, but questions and answers is what we think is the missing piece if we want to have people be able to extend their coaching. And if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to tell me if some of this sounds weird or it doesn't make sense. Okay, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, and the second piece that we think we need is we have what we call teams. If you go into your profile in the MindSettlers app, you will see the ability to create a team. So you can create a team, you can add people to it. You know, right now, okay, you're face to face with people and you get on the app and you know, there's a lot you have to do off the app in order to know who to add to your team. But what we're thinking, we're probably gonna transition that and call it groups. And the idea being, hey, maybe you are a liberating structures facilitator, you run all these workshops. We'll set up a group for all the people who take your workshops and get them in there and provide them resources. And that could be a private space, right? You provide just those people who are paying, maybe they're paying you for this additional service, right? So they could pay you for this support, this component of your services, and you can provide them with private content. You can, questions can just go to you, not to the entire community. So we do see that there's some work to do on teams, AKA groups, so that a coach or a consultant could have a private space where they can have a paid service and provide a group of people coaching, consulting services virtually. Yeah, so that's, what else do I have to say about it? I think there's a couple important things to say. That's the concept. So 4 scenarios for the interactions we think we want to support first for teams. And here's 2 additional pieces that we think we need to build out to make sure that it's really robust and it'll work. Two other things to say. One is, of course, data analytics. If you set up a group, if you're a coach, we're going to be able to provide you, here's what people are doing. Right now in the team interface, you see, you can have a view of every activity, the activities that are going on with that team. But of course, that needs to be built out. And here's the one that I think is the biggest, the one we're really excited about too, is it needs to be, oh gosh, what's the term for it? Multi-platform. It needs to be accessible, not just through Android, right? It needs to be accessible through iOS, through the web. So for these new pieces, now we're looking at that. The first version of questions and answers is going to be web-based, most likely, so that everyone can participate. Because it's too much, we've really been trying to prove our product market fit through Android, and we still absolutely, we know we're not completely done with that yet, but to move to the team level, to move to helping coaches and consultants engage and really involve people in the teams and groups, we cannot be Android only, right? We're not going to find, unless we go to Samsung or Google, there's not going to be any audiences that don't have iOS or want to access it through the web. So that we're researching how to transition to a platform, with everything we're building new, we're looking at that. Questions and answers prototype will be web. And then we're doing all the research on, okay, transitioning what we've built so far in the MindSettlers app to something that can extend beyond Android. We're looking at the strategies and paths that are there for us there. Makes sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, I said all that in 21 minutes. That's pretty good. Yeah, so hopefully that's food for thought for you. And we're just today, it's December, and we have a sort of target date to have the first version of this available to a small group on January 14th. So we have 4 weeks to prototype up the missing components so that it can be used in a particular training situation that Jürgen's in. We're going to test with a group there first. And yeah, now's a great time to get feedback from some of the details of what people would want and what they think about it, and what they might do with it. No idea if it would cost more or not. We are thinking about that. We do want to, of course, show revenue growth for our investors. That's extremely important, as well as increased usage in the app. So we're thinking about all of those things. So telling you right now is sort of an invitation for you to tell us what's on your wish list. It's an invitation for you to critique it, thrash it, tell us what's wrong with it, help us make it better. I think we have a good foundation in terms of the 4 scenarios. I really do. I really do, from everyone we've talked to over the last 18 months. So I hope you do too. So that's all I have to say. I'm very excited about finally getting to this point. So exciting to get to this point where we're building out the team piece. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking. And are there any questions? If you have, thanks for your time. And I'll post this online, and have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.